Yo, what up? This is going to be a video all about me creating a game. So the first thing I need to decide is what I should use to create my game. And if you have ever watched any kind of devlog video, you know that they use some sort of engine. Mainly Unity, but sometimes Godot. And it's simply just the smarter way to do. If you don't choose an engine, you have a lot more work to do. But what am I? Stupid. So I'm not gonna use an engine, I'm gonna use a framework. Specifically Monogame. So somebody might wonder, what is the difference between a framework and an engine? Well, the difference between a framework and an engine is that a framework is like a foundation, while an engine is already built on top of a foundation. As an example, game engines have already stuff like physics or collision detection implemented, which a framework usually does not have. So with this out of the way, let's create a game. So, a game needs a concept. So I asked some of my friends and they just said, do a game about a button. And I found that idea so good, I just straight up went to work and did just that. And after 6 hours I had a button I could press. So, to make that button, first of all, I needed something to draw. And I created the texture really quickly, it's really simple, I mean, look at it, it's not that complicated. After that, I just needed to tell Monogame to draw to the screen. But here, we already run into another problem. You see, a screen is not always a screen, there's a difference in resolution and ratio. For instance, 1280 by 720 and 1920 by 1080 have the same ratio, but one is significantly larger than the other. So the reason I'm telling you this is, let's say for example we try to draw something in the middle of the screen and we expect the user to have a 1080p screen. It will be in the center. But if the player has a 4K display, it won't display it in the center, but rather in the top left corner. And I don't know if you can tell, but this is definitely a problem. And to solve this problem, we can just simply use a target render. Target render is basically like a screen. We can define how big it's supposed to be, and then we can draw everything on it. After we finish drawing everything on the target render, we take it and stretch it to the actual screen, which might make it bigger or might make it lower. We don't care, it will still be drawn the same way, or at least everything will be at the same position. So now we have something in the middle of the screen which looks like a button, but it doesn't do anything. And it's not a platypus, it's supposed to do something. So for it to do something, we need to get the mouse position. And the mouse position is relative to the screen resolution. So as you may have noticed, it's the same problem as before, but this time it's not the position of what we are drawing, but the position of the mouse. So we just need to do some quick math to get it to the actual position. Okay, you probably didn't understand a thing I just said. Well, let me simplify this. So the mouse position is just a vector, so an x and a y coordinate. Let's say the user puts the mouse in the middle of the screen. Then that position will be from the top left corner to the middle of the screen. And that is the vector that describes the mouse position. Now, the bigger the screen, the bigger that number is going to be. And that's what we need math for. Now that we got the actual mouse position, we just need to check if it's over the button. And that's again easier said than done, because the button is not just one rectangle, but it consists of multiple. Luckily, I just need to compare the rectangles with the mouse position, but the rectangles are dependent on the button's position and size. So again, we need some quick maths, but nothing that interesting. Well, I can't just say it's boring all the time, I probably should show you how boring it is, so you can actually believe me. Okay, so as an example, let's take an 8x8 texture. And in that 8x8 texture, we will create a small 6x6 cube. This cube will be completely in the center of the texture. As you can probably tell, at the outer edge we got some transparency going on. Now, we don't want the hitbox to represent the entire texture, but only the stuff that isn't transparent. So how rectangles work is you got a position, x and y, and then you got a width and height. So in our case, the position for this hitbox will be at 1, 1, and it has the size of 6, 6. Sadly, we can't just use this as the hitbox, as the object in-game will not be the same size as the texture. So as an example, let's say the object in-game is 32 by 32 pixels. So in-game, the texture will just be stretched to the size of the object, in this case 32 by 32. As you probably can tell, the outer area is now bigger than before. It's still the same scale compared to the cube in the middle, but it's now 4 pixels wide instead of 1. And with that, the rectangle of the hitbox has also changed. It's now at 4:4 with the size of 24:24. Now we have a rectangle that represents the scaled up texture. Now we just need to use that rectangle and add the position of the object to the rectangle, rather to the coordinates of the rectangle, and then we will have the actual rectangle that represents the object in game. So with that working, I only need to implement something to do when the player is pressing a key while being over the button, and I choose, just for a little bit of testing, that the game should just close. And there we go, we got a game where all you need to do is press a button and the game is over. It's not really that interesting, is it? And this only took me 6 hours of coding and probably a lot of time editing. Yay. Oh boy, and how long it took to edit. Why did I put off making this? It's now February.
Actually March.
Originally, I planned this to be like a series kind of thing, where I just make a game about a button and then make more parts where I add some stuff in there, but this video is too short to grant one part. I'm just gonna do the entire thing now. Fuck it. Now, the only question that resides now is, what should I add to the game? Well, first of all, get out of this view, because you don't need to see Premiere for this. You want to see the actual video, so here you go. Oh yeah, can we turn on some music again? Maybe something different? Not that? Yeah, that should be good. So, how about a level system first? I think a level system for this kind of game would be nice. If you press a button, you get to the next level. Oh well, not any button. I would say that the button that says win is for the next level. And for that, I need a button that says something else than win. So I think it would be nice to have a button that says fail, and if you click it, you will go back one level. That way it has a kind of easy vibe to it. For those who don't know, Easy is a platformer with 100 levels where you need to get to the right side of the screen. And if you die, you will get brought back one level, and if you win, you will get to the next level, and the levels are randomly selected. Now the next thing is something for the levels. A cursor, to be more precise. Now for the texture of the cursor, I just ripped off the one from Asprite. Anyways, the next thing I wanted is something that makes the game more difficult. To make something that is a bit more difficult, we just need something that if the player touches it, he fails. Like a laser wall or something, I don't know. With that, we can already make a lot more challenging levels than before. But I think we can get more variety. How about we add more buttons that do different things? So for instance, a button where the player needs to hold instead of click. And while we're at it, how about a button that is locked and can be unlocked via other things in the game? Like for instance, another button. While we're at it, why don't we just add a button that needs multiple clicks instead of just one? Now with that, I think I have enough in terms of contents for the game. The only thing that's missing now are the levels itself. Sadly, I didn't record creating the levels, so all I can do is show you some example levels. And I'm going to do this my way, so brace yourself. Yeah, sorry for that. The last thing that is missing is a menu system, because now that we have all the levels, we need to add menus. So I thought we would just have a button that says Start, where you can start the game, a Select screen where you can select levels, and a Settings screen where you can toggle full screen, fixed step, which is basically frame rate limitations, and the resolution, where I'm just gonna put some pre-coded resolutions in there. The way I did this is just create the different screens as levels and then make it a special kind of level that can say what the next level is supposed to be, and depending on what button you press, you will be brought back to that level. And if you press escape, you will be brought back to the main screen if you're not on the main screen. Oh yeah, and I closely forgot, I also added an exit button because people want to close the game, maybe. And with this, I have the entire game completed. The last thing that is left is a way for people to download the game. Now I have two options, either one, host or download myself, or put it on itch.io. In other words, I will put it on itch.io. I will link the itch.io page as well as the source code in the description. So this is it, huh? The video is finally over. Earlier in the video I made the joke that this took a long time to do. Well, basically the day I'm finishing this video is the 31st of March. I started this in the beginning of January. So if I ever want to create another game again, I should probably do things differently, so it doesn't take that much time. Well, only time can tell. Anyway, think the video's over now. Or is it?